Welcome to the Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast. I am one of your two co-hosts, Brandon.
And with you as always is Tyler.
Tyler, another week in the books, my man. And we actually have a basketball win to talk about this week.
We did. We won a game. It was great.
Yeah, what could be the beginnings of another streak? Who knows? We've got a lot to cover on this show, Tyler. Probably nothing more important than what we're covering in segment 3. Okay?
Oh, boy.
You sent me an idea of, hey, let's build the perfect 90s sitcom family. What family would we want to grow up in? We're talking the best mom from your 90s sitcoms, best dad, best sibling, and best wild card pick. There were lots of crazy cousins and friends in those shows. I'm talking Boy Meets World. I'm talking Full House. I'm talking Family Matters. You name it, if it happened in the 90s, we're building the perfect family.
Yep. These are the important topics that people come to Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast for.
I agree, and if that weren't enough, Tyler, we are going to talk about Governor Bashir, Kentucky hot dogs, Bob Evans sausage, Trump's secret button, and Netflix.
Oh, wow, we're going to talk about all that?
You didn't even know, did you?
Holy cow. What a show.
What a great show.
We should be charging for this.
We should, but we're not. So,
We're
hey,
not.
You can listen to us for free on YouTube or visit us on our website at lexbuds.com. So we got a lot of cool stuff. We're doing things here, Tyler.
This is going to be a great show. I can't wait.
I am so excited about this show. I've been thinking about it all week. I'm not kidding. But before we get into it, Tyler, what have you been into this week?
Well, we had a rare date night out this weekend.
Ooh.
Without the kids.
Great.
We went and tried out a new restaurant.
Which one?
Oh,
come on.
Hold on.
Tyler, where did you go on date night this weekend? We're still in the weekend.
Bella Cafe on High Street.
Okay.
I think that was the name of it.
That's something.
I'm not 100% positive, but I think it's Bella Cafe.
That's great.
It was really good.
It must have been great.
I just couldn't remember.
Well, what do they have at Bella Cafe? I've not heard of this.
Well, like I do at any fancy restaurant, I ordered the cheeseburger. So
I was gonna go chicken strips.
Well, that was my next choice. It was between the chicken tenders and the.
But what's their
cheeseburger.
specialty? I don't know anything about Bella. Like, what do they do? Obviously, you're gonna get burgers and chicken strips regardless. But,
yes.
But what do they do for the general public? Because I've never heard of this place.
Well, they had a little bit of everything. You know, you could get a pork chop, you could get a filet mignon.
So it's a steakhouse.
You could get soups or salads or salmon. I mean, you know, it was a pretty small menu, but you know, everything on the menu was something different.
So you had like one beef dish, one
Yes.
chicken. You know, that's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I get worried when places have like 50 items on the menu.
Yeah, like Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, like
it's too much.
Like, are you ready to order, sir? Like, no, I'm on chapter 2. Can you come back? I've got to finish reading this thing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and then we also today went to a new ice cream shop in town.
Oh, what's that?
Have you heard of Freshies Ice Cream?
Never heard of this.
It is a ode to the kind of 50s soda shops.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, so everything is 1950s decor. All the music playing is 1950s.
Wow.
Everybody's dressed in the 50s, which really. And I was telling my wife this while we were there. Like if you were going to live in another decade, would you not pick the 1950s? Like everybody was just happy. Everybody was going to soda shops and eating ice cream sundaes. Like I feel like it's just a happier time.
You think girls were just walking around in poodle skirts everywhere? That's just what it was, right?
Exactly.
So did it feel like Marty McFly in Back to the Future? Is that what it felt like when he goes back and all that?
Yeah, it kind of does. Takes you back in time.
And all they do is ice cream?
No, there's ice cream. There is sundaes. They have like the hot fudge cookies and brownies. Then of course, you know, you can get the the ice cream floats like from the 50s.
Louise.
I mean, they got a whole smorgasbord of menu items.
That sounds
I would
amazing.
highly recommend it.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's very good. We were planning on going back very soon.
Freshies.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm making a
Freshies.
note.
It's in the Heartland area.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So what's been going on with you, sir? Any new restaurants or ice cream shops?
No new restaurants or ice cream shops that I'm aware of, but you saw what I was doing when you came in, right, to the studio. What was I doing?
You were working a puzzle.
Yeah, we were working a puzzle, and it was great. It was we're working this Baby Yoda puzzle.
Nice.
You know, it's a 500-piece puzzle. Our 7-year-old brought it home and said, "Here, let's work this together." 5 minutes into it, he says, "Dad, will you build this?" So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yep.
And then we did have a date night, too. We went out this weekend. We went to Gray's, Graze.
No, I'm not familiar with Grace.
It is one of my favorite places in Lexington.
Oh.
Yes. Little insider tip: get the Carolina fries. Okay. Amazing. It's like these fries smothered with queso, barbecue sauce, like a brisket, and it's pretty darn good.
You're speaking my language.
Dude,
I like it.
I love Gray's. Highly underrated. Doesn't get talked about a lot, but it makes a great old fashioned as well. So if you're a bourbon drinker, go to Gray's. Get you some good food. I love it. That's just me.
Well, shout out to Gray's and Freshies.
And the place that you couldn't remember.
And Bella Cafe.
And Bella Cafe. There we go. There's our food recommendations, but I highly recommend Gray's. I love it. Let's get into it, Tyler. We got some fun stuff to talk about. One of the biggest fun things we get to talk about is the UK basketball game this Saturday. Tyler, the Cats roared back from a 3-game losing streak by laying a smackdown on the LSU Tigers Saturday in Rupp, 82-69. What now? just what now? This team is so... What do we do with that?
I don't know. We thought a couple of weeks ago when they played spectacular against Florida that we had turned things around. I'm not getting too excited after a 1-game performance. That being said, it looks like maybe, knock on wood, Brandon Boston might have finally figured out the game of basketball. 18 points, no turnovers, which was maybe the most impressive stat that he had.
Yeah.
Played great. Keon Brooks played great. 15 points, 9 rebounds. Isaiah Jackson had 15 rebounds, which was insane.
In the limited minutes he played.
Yeah.
That was the unbelievable part.
Yeah, he got 15 rebounds in like 14 minutes or something.
Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Like Dennis Rodman down there.
Yeah, I mean, if that doesn't get him some more minutes, he's got to find – Cal's got to find a way to get him in the game more. I guess the only guy that didn't really play well was Devin Askew. 0 for 5 from the field. He's now 0 for his last 11 from 3. Missed the front end of the 1-and-1 free throws again. We've got to find a way to get him going because right now it looks like everybody else has hit a little bit of a stride, at least for the 1 game. But Askew's had a couple really back-to-back terrible games.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think this is a trend for B.J. Boston? His last 2 games, even the game he played against Georgia, he seemed to step it up a little bit when he came off the bench, right? Yep. That was earlier this week. And obviously his performance Saturday was stellar. I mean, do you think it's going to go? Because we've seen this. We saw the tease with the Florida game, and then we go on a 3-game losing streak.
Yep.
I mean, is this for real? How do we know what's real with this team?
You don't.
This is what's confusing. That's why I didn't even do a long intro. I don't know what to make of the information that's been given to me. You know what I mean? I don't know what to do with it. B.J. Boston's playing well. Keon Brooks playing well. That's great. We get a double-digit victory with this year, which I didn't think we'd see all year long, frankly. I'm happy we got the win. But we've got a lot of tough games coming.
The schedule ahead is brutal.
We've got Alabama again. We've got to play Tennessee a couple times. We got Texas coming up in
on
the
Saturday.
the Big 12 Challenge. So things are going to be really tough this week. And I don't know what to make of the whole season. I mean, what are the odds that we actually make the tournament?
Well, I think going back to the game earlier in the week against the Georgia game.
Yeah,
I think that loss effectively eliminated us from an at-large berth. And you talk about just ripping your heart out, that Georgia game, to lose on an underneath-the-basket inbounds play.
Yeah.
I mean, just when you think we can't find another way to lose this season, we lose on a frickin' inbounds play where a guy just cuts straight to the rim.
I know.
Doesn't even catch it cleanly. He bobbles it almost and basically drops the ball. Everybody just stands around, lets him gather himself and put in for a layup.
Well, they were just trying to be the gentleman thing there. They were just trying to be courteous. Like, oh, you dropped it. Go ahead, buddy. Let's give it another shot, old chap. That was difficult. But, I mean, at this point, if you're putting all your eggs in the SEC tournament basket, we're getting absolutely walloped by teams like Alabama, by Auburn, that are playing this high-tempo basketball. Is that something that can get fixed by SEC tournament time? Because odds are if you're going to win it to get in the tournament, you're going to run into one of these 2 teams somewhere along the way. Right? It may be the SEC finals, but at some point, if you have to win the tournament to get in, we're going to have to face them. I mean, what is your outlook on that? Because they've laid a hurting on it. It's pretty bad. I just don't know that the 2 styles and the 2 teams are going to change so much that we have a chance at beating either one of them in the SEC tournament.
I think you just have to pray that they're having a cold night. I mean, because if they're shooting like they did against us, and heaven forbid, if they play like they did against LSU, did you see that game the other night?
Yeah, it was scary.
I mean, they hit they set a SEC record for 3-pointers in a game. So if they're shooting like that, just forget it. We don't have a chance. But I think it's key that we at least win enough conference games to get either a bye or the double bye. We really need the double bye so that you need to be in the top 4.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we're playing on the first day and you have to win, I think you'd have to win, 5 straight games?
It's a lot.
That's not going to happen.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, this team's not winning 5 straight. So every single game here on out is critical. Not really that we for seeding in the NCAA tournament, because we're out of the tournament right now. We're playing for the SEC tournament and getting the best possible seed we can get for that. So every game we can win, will help in getting the bye or the double bye.
Yeah. Now, what do you think? I guess what should Cal do with this team, right? Because we've had shifts in the starting lineup. He's obviously listened to the fans or somebody say, hey, Dante Allen should start. Now it comes out Dante Allen came back to Cal after the Georgia game and said I'd rather come off the bench. So you got all this conflicting information. You got players not really sure where their role is. You got a struggling point guard. You got inside players that can't really do anything, can't score. Obviously, they did against LSU this Saturday, but that was rare. What do you do with this team? Do you scratch it up or just chalk it up as, okay, we're just going to pray and let's go on to next year? What if you're Calipari, what are you doing?
Well, I know what I'm doing. I'm experimenting. I mean,
with drugs or what? Or
not with drugs.
Okay.
I'm experimenting with different lineups, with different defenses, with different offense. I'm just trying things out because none of the rest of these regular season games matter. Like I said, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's all about what we can do in the SEC tournament if we can win it. So why not just try some different things out? Why not bring out a full court press? Try 3/4 court press.
I'm sure that'll come out right after the 2-3 zone, Tyler, that we play for more than 2 minutes at a time.
Well, listen. What did you learn in middle school basketball? That when the other team has an underneath the goal inbounds play,
2-3 zone.
What do you always do?
2-3 zone.
2-3 zone
to prevent exactly what happened against Georgia.
If we played a 2-3 zone, Isaiah Jackson is standing right there ready to swat that guy's layup. But instead, Isaiah Jackson's guarding him man-to-man and is trying to catch him from behind.
Yeah. That's a worse strategy, I would say. That's probably not what you want to do. But, I don't think he's going to change. He's not changed yet. He's turned Olivier Sarr, or at least tried to turn him into a post-dominant player. He's just not. That's not who he is. It's obvious he wants to shoot, facing the basket, and he's just not getting that chance. I don't know. I feel like he's not getting put in a good position to do things. I like playing Dante Allen and BJ Boston together because, Allen obviously spreads the floor a little bit, gives Boston a little bit more room to dribble. He likes to dribble. So he needs more room to do that. It's just, I don't know if all the parts are here to make it happen this year. And neither one of our point guards are consistent enough. Askew has got to be our guy at some point. We can't rely on it. Not saying he's not a good transfer, but, Davion Mintz, I don't think he's going to lead you to a national title. Askew at least came out highly touted. He's got the capabilities to do it. I just don't know if it's in the cards this year.
Yeah, point guard play is definitely killing us. But if you just look at, hey, what is this team's biggest strength? I think it's obvious. What is our biggest strength right now?
Losing. We're really good at that. We're killing it as far as and wingspan.
Wingspan, okay. I was going to say defense. That would be the strength of our team.
Yeah, unless it's underneath the goal.
Yeah. Or if we're playing Alabama. But we've got the number 14th ranked defense in the country right now. I don't know if you realize that.
Well, thank goodness.
We're number 14, which is pretty good. So that's kind of where I said, why not try out a full court press? I mean, this team has the length, the wingspan, like you just mentioned. We can't score in the half court setting, so why not try to press? Get some steals, get some easy shots on the other end.
Tyler, Calipari's only been wrong once in 1978. He said it 10 times. And he's not going to admit that he's wrong in this case. He's going to stick with it and double down. That's what people do now. Right?
Yep.
I mean, that's what people do. They make a mistake. They'll never own up to it. They double down on it. I don't see that changing, just to be frank.
Yeah. I don't either. But like I said, if it were me, if I were the coach, I would just be trying different things out. Just see what works and maybe try some things you've never tried before.
Yeah, I feel like that scene in The Waterboy, like at halftime of the Bourbon Bowl when the coach comes out from the back, it's Henry Winkler. He just says, "Anybody got any ideas?"
Yeah.
Hey, remember that time Bobby Boucher? You know, it reminds me of that. I feel like Coach Cal is like the coach reaching out and just saying, "Is anybody having any ideas?"
Yeah, why not? I mean, pull out some trick plays. You know, let's just try some things out.
We need something, no doubt.
But anyway, Brandon, the basketball season may be actually in danger of not finishing.
Don't say that.
Matt Norlander at CBS Sports put out an article this week that said multiple conference commissioners and athletic directors have told CBS there's a growing sense of nervousness over the stability of the college basketball season and all winter sports in general. Basically, the article said there were two reasons. One being the new president, the Biden administration, may bring in some new protocols for dealing with the coronavirus.
Great.
But also, students are coming back on campus, and we saw a spike in the fall when students came back to campus. So between those things combined, Brandon, are you worried that the college basketball season may not get to finish for a second year in a row?
Well, here's the deal. If you thought that was the case, you should have never started the season in the first place. Okay? We've been told we're actually ahead of schedule on the whole vaccine thing, right? We were told it may not even be till spring or summer this year when it even comes out. So when they were planning this, that was the assumption. Well, now we've got something to help treat it. If you didn't think this was going to keep going on, why even get up to this point? Why? What's the point of sending these kids all over the country to play this when there's no end game? You had to know that this was going to keep going on. And we're heading into flu season, which the flu doesn't exist anymore, by the way. It's true. The flu's not really going around too much this year. But, you had to know this was coming. This is not an unexpected outcome, so I don't see where the controversy is. You should have never done it in the first place if you thought that, like, the flu and coronavirus were just going to go away in the winter time.
Right.
That's not how it works. So, I don't know.
Yeah, looking at some of the numbers, just as of right now, about 20% of all college basketball games are canceled on a given week.
The protocols are ridiculous.
Well, that's true, but the protocols aren't changing.
Why? Why?
Well, it's like you said. They've already, like the same reason Calipari's not changing. Nope, nobody wants to change.
I mean, we had some rules for football where if somebody got sick, the whole team didn't have to sit out or the game didn't get canceled. I don't know why basketball is different. I must have missed the boat on this. How did this happen?
Well, I mean, with the way Kentucky's playing, would it kind of be a relief if the college basketball season was canceled? Then we wouldn't have to worry about missing the tournament. At least
that's true. It hides a big flaw of ours.
It would. Yeah, we wouldn't have to have that record of missing the 2021 tournament.
Well, that's true. Everybody else would miss it too, Tyler. There's a silver lining.
Yeah, I think this would bring. I think if Joe Biden canceled the college basketball season, people of Kentucky would unite in support of Joe Biden.
Okay, so put it on the record. Tyler Bentley's in full support of Joe Biden canceling the basketball season. Is that what you said? I think that's what you said.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see how. That's true. Tyler, the Tennessee Volunteers football program is having supersized problems with the NCAA. Recent investigations show the Volunteer staff may have committed multiple Level 1 and Level 2 violations. Most notably, as reported on the Dan Patrick Show, recruiters often gave prospects money stuffed in McDonald's bags. Again, that's from the Dan Patrick Show, not from us. This has led to the firing of head coach Jeremy Pruitt along with 7 other staff from the team. AD Phil Fulmer's out as well. He's resigned. Tyler, is it safe to say I'm loving it?
I am loving it. It couldn't have happened to a better team. That is for sure.
McDonald's bags, Tyler.
But the McDonald's bags. Are you kidding me? This is like something you would see in a movie. Like, is this real life? I mean, if you're giving recruits money, it seems there has to be a better way than giving it to them in a, what happened to the guy with like the leather briefcase?
Yeah, it was a little more classy.
Yeah, or having it sent to their house, or just buying them a car or something, instead of just a big bag of money.
Yeah, it's impressive.
In a McDonald's, I mean, they could at least got a Chipotle bag or something.
I know, class it up a little bit. McDonald's of all places, but I guess people would say, "Hey, why would you look in the McDonald's bag?" Right? So I mean, it kind of makes sense. Doesn't it? I don't know.
I guess.
Would a bag full of money from McDonald's entice you to go to Tennessee? Would that do the trick?
No.
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 I mean,
it's Tennessee. First of all, it's Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. I'm so happy this is happening in Tennessee. Just to be honest with you, their fans are very obnoxious and annoying. I mean, and if I hear Rocky Top one more time, I'll just jump off a bridge. I hate that song. Can't stand it. Listen to it growing up. Every time they scored a touchdown against us, it was pretty brutal. So I'm good with it. I'm fine with it. You do bad things, bad stuff happens. I don't feel bad about it at all.
Yeah, and Tennessee, they have a whole McFlurry of problems right now.
Oh, jeez.
They've got, like you said, all the coaches are leaving. They've had like 20 players enter the transfer portal. They're about to be bottom of the SEC.
Yeah, that's too bad. I heard that NCAA investigators became suspicious when they overheard a conversation through the drive-thru, Tyler, with one of the prospects.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guy said, "Do you want fives with that?"
Oh, boy.
That's a thinker.
Yeah,
I think that tips them off. Again, that's just rumor and innuendo. I have no proof of that.
But McDonald's bags. Only Tennessee would be giving away money in a McDonald's bag.
Jeez Louise, what a disaster.
All right, Brandon, one last news for our sports segment. Coach K showing off his jerkiness again. After their third straight loss, this time coming to the hands of the Louisville Cardinals on Saturday, Coach K was asked a question by one of Duke's own student news reporters, and the kid just basically asks, where do you go from here? They've lost 3 straight, which is terrible by Duke standards. Seems like a reasonable question to ask. What's the plan going forward? How do we overcome a 3-game losing streak? And I think we should just play Coach K's response.
Yeah, this clip's about 50 seconds long, but it's got the question and Coach K's response. You ready, Tyler?
All right, let's do it.
Let's give our analysis.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hi, Coach. I'm just curious as to what the next step forward here is for the team as you guys move into another week of basketball.
Yeah, why don't we just evaluate this game? I'm not into what our next step forward is right now. We just finished a hard-fought game. I don't know if, what's your major? What's your major at Duke? What's your hardest class?
Econ.
Okay. So say you just had the toughest econ test in the world, and when you walked out, somebody asked you, what's your next step? You see what I mean? You have some empathy and just give us time to evaluate this game, and then we'll figure out, just like we always try to do.
All right, Tyler. So that was the response. What do you think about it?
What a jerk. Give me a break. Are you serious? What is a student reporter? It's one thing to be a jerk to somebody in the media who does this for a living. This is a student reporter. What
specifically about the response makes you think he's a jerk? What's the specific part that turned the key for you to say, you know what, you're a jerk? What started it? I got to know.
Just that he basically, without saying it, he basically said that's a stupid question. He didn't say that, but his tone and the way he worded it says that's a stupid question, and he kind of belittles him. It was like, oh, what's your toughest? How would you feel? And then he asked the kid for empathy. Well, give me a break. You just belittled this kid who probably this is one of the biggest moments of his young career, getting to ask a question to Coach K, and he just puts him down and then asks the kid for empathy. Give me a break.
Okay, I'm taking up for Coach K in this case. I think you are wrong.
You are kidding me.
There is nothing in this response that seems out of line to me.
Really?
And also, he tries to put himself in the student's shoes. He tries to say, hey, first of all, what's your major? My favorite pickup line from college. Hey, what's your major? So there was that. But he's trying to relate. He's trying to relate to the kids. How is that a bad thing? By saying, hey, what's your tough situation? Okay, that's kind of how I feel right now. See, we're buddies. We're bros. I take up for Coach K in this case. I don't take up for Coach K a lot, but I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because we've seen other coaches come out and literally say, well, that's a bad question.
No, we've never had a coach say that.
No, but
no.
We know what it looks like. He didn't raise his voice. He, basically just tried to put himself in the student's shoes.
No, he's not trying to put himself in the student. He's being a jerk.
Well,
That's
he
a
did
jerk.
it tonight.
He's pissed off because he's lost 3 games in a row.
Well, what's he supposed to do, Tyler? Come out with sunshine and roses and say, hey, you know what? We'll get them next time, guys.
Okay, but do you think that's a reasonable question?
Yes.
To ask someone, where do you go from here after you just lost your 3rd game?
And he answered the question.
Is that no, he didn't answer the question.
He did.
He said, I'm not going to answer that question. He said, we're going to
That was the answer to
this game.
That was the answer to the question. He said, I'm not. He basically said, I'm not there yet. I'm dealing with what just happened. That's all. What's wrong with that?
He's a jerk.
Okay, I do agree with you on that. Tyler, interesting argument there. I didn't see it going that way.
I would never thought I would have saw you defending Coach K.
Well, now it's on record, isn't it?
Okay.
You want the basketball season shut down, and I'm approving of Coach K. This show will probably just shut down next week now. But crazy. Tyler, we got another segment coming up. Actually, we got 2 more segments, but in the next one, we are going to cover Governor Beshear limiting people's internet usage, hot dogs, Bob Evans recall, Trump, and Netflix.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be fun.
That sounds like a great list of topics. I can't wait to talk about them.
I can't either. We'll see you right after the break. Welcome back. Segment 2, Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast. Tyler, I want to remind all of our listeners to follow us on our website, lexbuds.com. Search us on YouTube. Just search Lex Buds. Search us on Facebook, Lex Buds and Pick and Roll. And at Twitter, at Lex Buds. We're everywhere.
Yeah, basically, if you just type in Lex Buds on something, you'll probably find us somewhere.
Yeah, that's
something
the long,
will come up.
Long story short. Yes, you're correct. We got some cool stuff coming up this segment, Tyler. As always, don't forget about our fun segment, segment 3, where we talk about our favorite, or we build basically our 90s sitcom family.
Yes.
It's a 90s sitcom family draft. We're going to draft a mom, a dad, a sibling, and a wild card.
If you love 90s TV shows and TGIF growing up, you're not going to want to miss this.
It's going to be fun. Tyler, let's go ahead and get started with segment 2. What do we got on tap first?
All right. First up, we'll start with some Kentucky news.
Yes.
Our illustrious governor, Andy Beshear, vetoed 5 pieces of legislation Tuesday that attempted to limit his executive powers, saying they would, quote, significantly hamper the important steps that he has taken to slow the spread of COVID-19. Now, we know that Republicans have a veto-proof majority and will likely override the vetoes next month. Brandon, whose side are you on? Are you on the Republican side or Governor Beshear's side?
Well, in this case, I'm not on either person's side necessarily. I'm just thinking into the future, 10 years from now, if this happens. Let's say it happens again, and it's another situation. Because let's face it, Governor Beshear getting in is remarkable in a Republican state. So odds are, for the foreseeable future in a red state like Kentucky, you're going to have Republican governors, most likely, as of today.
100%.
Even with that said, regardless of party, I think it's very important that you put limitations on, authority and power in the governor's mansion. It was very obvious Beshear was going to shoot this down. You know, if he wanted to limit his powers, he would have called legislative sessions during this whole thing. He didn't do it, right? So, I mean, what's he going to do? It's going to end up going through with a veto-proof majority anyway. And I think just long-term, I'm thinking 10 years out, 20 years out. I think it's a good thing. That's the one thing that really bothered me with this whole situation is, the authority of one person in the whole state to do something. It scares me. I don't know what you think.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I agree that when you said it's not a surprise. I mean, I feel like no governor or no president is going to willingly give themselves less power.
Surely not, Tyler. You're crazy.
That's just the nature of the game.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to willingly take powers away. So I don't think it's a surprise or that he has done this. And I also see the point of restricting powers for one particular branch of government. Supposed to have a balance, like we learned in elementary school.
Do you agree with Beshear?
Here's kind of what I would like to see, maybe as a compromise, because heaven forbid we have any compromise on anything.
We don't do that here.
It's got to be our side wins and your side loses.
There must be blood, Tyler. No, go ahead. What is it?
If you look at countries where this virus hasn't been as bad, where they've been able to kind of shut it down quickly, it's been in places where you have a lot of executive power to go ahead and do things to shut things down. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily good, that you have a dictatorship in China where they can close things down.
Say, executive power in other countries means they'll tell you to do whatever.
But one of the downfalls of democracy is that nothing moves quickly. And when you have something as dangerous as a pandemic, you need swift action. You can't sit around and wait for weeks, months at a time for the legislatures to debate and argue and come up with something. In some cases, you just need somebody to make a quick response. So kind of my compromise would be...
I can't wait to hear this.
Okay. Give him the power to make executive decisions in times of crisis, such as a pandemic, but limit how long those orders stay in effect. So maybe he can give an order, but it only has the power to stay for 2 weeks or a month or two, or whatever the time is.
Yeah.
And then if the legislature doesn't like it, they can then vote to overturn it. Maybe it's just kind of a middle ground there.
It could be a middle ground. That's true. And then if it needed to be renewed, it would have to go through legislature.
Right.
Basically. Right.
Yeah.
And
just throwing that out there. Like, why can't we find some middle ground?
Well,
I'm all about compromise.
If it goes to the legislature, though, and there's not a veto-proof majority, and it goes to the governor's desk to sign it, what do you think they're going to do if they've implemented it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's this whole... I get what you're saying, though. That makes sense. I'm just a big fan of limiting power in general. It makes me nervous when one person has too much control. That's just me. That's just a general overriding principle, but I get it. I mean, he was kind of dealing with something that we've never dealt with in our lifetime. Mm-hmm. We've been on the earth, we're in our late 30s. Oh, God. We're in our late 30s. But, we've never dealt with this, so maybe he was trying to figure it out, but oh well.
And the frustrating thing is, if it was a Republican governor, they wouldn't be doing this. It's because we've got a Democratic governor, and if the roles were reversed, if it was a Republican governor and a Democratic legislature, they'd be trying to take. It's all just a game. I don't think they truly.
All the world's a stage, and we are merely players. Tyler.
Yes, exactly.
It's crazy. All right, Tyler. A Kentucky man accused of taking part in the D.C. riots on January 6th has since been arrested by the FBI, and as part of his conditional bond, he is not allowed to post online about the event or basically anything related to government. Tyler, your thoughts on the government limiting someone's internet access and usage?
The internet is a privilege. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that you have the right to post freely on the internet. I mean, I guess that would have been kind of hard to predict back then.
I would love to see
called
that.
The internet.
Yeah, that that's true.
But anyway, it is a privilege. I mean, it's kind of like when I was teaching, and a kid would ask to go to the bathroom every single day, every single class period, and then he would be gone for 15 minutes. Well, after a certain point, like, dude, I'm not going to let you go to the bathroom anymore. And then you look at that and say, oh, you're not letting the kid go to the bathroom. What's wrong with you? Like, well, he lost his privilege. This guy lost his privilege to be able to post whatever he wants online when he incited a riot at the U.S. Capitol building.
But on the other, let me just put the shoe on the other. Would you consider this a speech issue? Because now the government is limiting your ability to have free speech. And going on social media and posting is speech.
Well, you already have limitations on freedom of speech. You can't run into a movie theater and yell fire.
What if he's not posting about fire? What if he just wants to what if he just wants to talk about what happened that day? He can't even talk about it.
He lost his privilege. Sorry for him.
Okay. Well, that was a short discussion. I mean, I can tell where you're standing on this. On the other hand, when you, like I said, how many times have we said this? When you do bad stuff happens.
Yeah.
How many times do we have to say that on this show? I feel like I've said this every show for like 40 weeks.
Agreed.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, the government's never come to me and asked me to not post things. That's because I don't do stupid stuff.
Okay.
If you don't do stupid stuff, you can post whatever you want in reason.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, Brandon, let's talk about hot dogs.
Ooh, yeah.
Let's switch it up. Move over, Lassie. The owners of Lexington's newest hot dog restaurant hope to make the Kentucky dog the most popular dog in the country. Gourmet hot dogs at the new restaurant in Lexington. And I didn't write down the name. What's the name of it?
You told me what it was right before we started. You said it was like Boondogs.
Yeah, Boondogs.
Was that it?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. Boondogs.
Gourmet hot dogs at the new restaurant run $8 to $9, which leads me to a twofold question for you, sir. Would you pay $9 for a hot dog? And more importantly, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, Well, see, Tyler, this is tough. Yes, I would pay $9 for a hot dog. I would pay $9 for a hot dog. I mean, the Kentucky dog, if they're trying to go for world domination with this hot dog, I'd pay $9 for world domination on the hot dog stage. Why not? I love hot dogs. You throw a bunch of crap on them, it's delicious. It's like a burger. You know, you go to a burger place, they put like 15, they stack it up 15 layers high. 3 pieces of cheese, bacon, tomatoes, all this stuff. I'm a fan of it with hot dogs too. And if this is a specialty hot dog place or sausage place, I'm even bigger fan of it. As far as if a hot dog is a sandwich, no. No, because the bun is connected. If the bun is connected, it cannot be a sandwich.
Oh.
It's got the hinge.
Okay.
See what I mean?
I see.
I think if it's got...
So that's where you separate. The sandwich has to be two separate.
I think so. Now, in some cases,
bread.
people don't slice all the way through the bread on a sandwich, and you get that hinge as well. But that's that's not the norm. The norm is 2 layers of bread. I think the difference with a hot dog is it's got the hinge mechanism built into the bun.
I've never heard that argument before.
Yeah, it's connected.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
It does. Well, what do you think? Are you paying $9 for a hot dog?
Well, see, here's the thing. You know, we have discussed on this show how big of a picky eater I am.
Yes.
I eat my hot dogs plain.
What do you mean plain? Just mustard?
No, not
chili.
No, just the hot dog and the bun. Because I do not like any hot dog toppings.
What? Hold on one second. Tyler, do you eat mustard?
I don't like mustard, no.
Tyler, do you eat ketchup?
No.
Do you eat chili?
No.
Sweet mercy. Do you put cheese on the hot dog?
I guess I could do cheese, yeah. Why not?
Oh, my God.
I'll live a little
relish,
dangerously.
Relish,
no.
Onions,
no.
Pickles?
No sauerkraut.
Do you eat pickles?
Nope, no pickles.
You don't eat pickles?
Nope.
Tyler, come on, man. You don't eat any of this.
There's not a single hot dog topping that I will eat.
Mayonnaise. I don't eat mayonnaise. But you eat mayonnaise?
People put mayonnaise on
Tyler,
hot dogs?
I'm running out of condiments to try here. I'm just trying to throw me a bone here, man. So you don't eat any condiments ever?
So it would be hard for me to pay $9 for just the meat and the bun.
Oh my gosh.
But that's just me because I am extremely picky. As I said.
This is unbelievable. Yeah, in your case that doesn't make sense. What about the sandwich argument? Is a hot dog a sandwich? Did I convince you with my argument?
I mean, that's a good point. You know, the is a hot dog a sandwich argument has baffled people for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an age-old dilemma.
Absolutely.
Because it is a piece of meat between bread.
Yes.
Which seems to be the basic definition of a sandwich. Is that it's piece of meat or cheese, whatever, between bread. But I think I have to agree with you.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's kind of like the Supreme Court person whoever, when they were trying to determine what pornography was, and they said, I can't describe it, but I know it when I see it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I know a sandwich when I see it. And when I see a hot dog, that ain't a sandwich.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing is, I think it also has to do with the shape of the meat, right? A regular sandwich isn't going to have a rounded object like a hot dog in it. A sandwich wouldn't, right? Does that make sense? Am I making sense here? I think it's the roundness of the meat, and I also think it's the hinge of the hot dog bun.
Okay. What about an Uncrustable? Is that a sandwich?
No, because it's enclosed.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be separate. 2 separate pieces of bread.
I got you.
The Uncrustable is like a pocket. It's like a hot pocket like we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
All right. Well, I think we have solved the dilemma, and
everybody can rest easy now.
Everybody, if you like hot dog toppings, pay $9.
Here's what I'm going to do, Tyler.
Maybe they would give me a discount on the hot dog since I don't eat any.
Probably. It probably costs them 50 cents to make your hot dog, Tyler. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try out this place, Boondogs. I'm going to try it out this week and give a full report on the Kentucky dog. I'll let you know if it's worth it.
Okay.
So be on the lookout
Sounds
there,
good.
Boondogs. We'll see how that goes. Tyler, Bob Evans has just pulled their pork from grocery store shelves. Bob Evans announced a recall of 42.
Sorry. I was not ready for that.
You didn't let me finish the sentence. I said they pulled their pork from grocery store shelves. Bob Evans announced a recall of 4,200 pounds of their sausage.
Oh, God.
Which they state may contain...
Why did you have to say that? I would have been just fine if you hadn't said pulled their pork off the shelves.
Okay, Tyler.
This is all your fault.
So they state that the sausage may contain rubber.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez. Do you care? Would you eat it anyway?
All right. Well, we talked about last week the Hot Pocket recall.
Yeah.
So I feel like our recalls are getting slightly higher in quality. So you have the Hot Pockets, which are basically at the bottom of any rating of healthiness.
So you think Bob Evans sausage is like
is centimeters, above the Hot Pocket. So I'm worried we're going to continue to move up the.
What's the next recall? Do you think we see?
I know. I'm starting to get worried that this is going to start hitting a little closer to home on these. But
I know, it's scary. I mean, do you care about what's in the sausage? People always say, "Oh, it's best not to know how the sausage is made." Maybe this is why. Maybe because it contains rubber.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Bob Evans. If you're just talking about breakfast places.
When's the last time you ate at a Bob Evans?
It's been a long time.
It's been decades since I've been in Bob Evans.
But it's good. I mean, do you think Bob Evans breakfast is good?
I don't eat breakfast a lot. I don't really care for breakfast.
What?
I don't like breakfast. I mean, I never eat breakfast. Tyler, I eat one time a day, maybe two.
See, I think overall breakfast has the most delicious variety of foods of any meal. I love Bob Evans.
I don't think so at all. I think breakfast foods are very greasy and salty. Greasy, salty meats.
That's why I love them. Yeah. What's the downside here?
I don't know. That's a good question. I just basically went against myself there. I'm not sure. But, yeah, I mean, I don't want to know how the sausage is made either. I assume when I'm eating sausage that there's probably some bits of rubber in it anyway. So to me, this isn't like huge news.
Yeah. Any frozen breakfast food. I mean, I don't eat a lot of frozen foods but I feel like frozen breakfast foods, like when you see those, Jimmy Dean frozen sausage biscuits at the grocery store. Yeah. I mean, it makes my stomach hurt just thinking about it.
The only sausage I trust, Tyler, is that Purnell's guy. It's good.
It's good. Purnell's Old Folk Country sausage.
That's right. We'll go with that.
All right. Well, let's move on. We'll continue our food and drink topic.
Yeah, let's continue our food and drink.
America was shocked to learn this week that outgoing President Donald Trump, we haven't even talked about that yet, we have a new president.
Oh, crazy.
President Donald Trump pushed the emergency red button on his desk many times. But this button wasn't a call into the nuclear launch. Instead, it was for the White House butler to bring him a glass of Diet Coke on a silver tray. It became news this week once President Biden had the button removed. But the more important question here is, if you had a button that you could have a butler bring you something anytime you wanted it, what would it be?
First of all, I love this story, and I think it's actually pretty cool in a weird way. It's stupid, I know that, but in a way, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool just to have a Diet Coke button. If I had a button, Tyler, for basically any time I needed anything, it would be a chips and salsa button.
Ooh.
Yeah, like when I go to a Mexican restaurant, and basically any restaurant in Lexington, they never give me enough salsa or chips. I go through like 2 or 3 baskets before my food comes out, and I go through like 6 cups of the salsa, and I'm always like, can you bring some more? Can you bring some more? I would just like to have it, and then have a basket brought out, refreshing my basket of chips with hot, fresh chips and delicious salsa at any time. Easy. That's an easy call for me.
That's a solid pick. I also love this story, and apparently Trump would drink like 12 Diet Cokes a day.
That's impressive.
Which is just, I mean...
To be fair, it didn't help his figure, man.
No. I mean, that seems like an awful lot of caffeine to be consuming a day, but...
Well, in our interview with Corey Lewandowski earlier last year now, it's kind of crazy, he mentioned that, they would do events till 2 in the morning, and then Trump would call him at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, where are you at? I think maybe we've solved why that is.
We now know why, don't we? He was on his 11th Diet Coke of the day when he was calling Corey. This is a really tough question because there's a lot of different directions you could go with having someone bring you a food or drink on demand.
Yeah.
Because, you don't want to pick something that you only eat occasionally.
Right.
Like I wouldn't want somebody to bring me, a fried pork chop on demand because I don't eat fried pork chops that often.
I mean, you don't eat a lot of stuff, Tyler.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
So you got to pick something that you eat quite a bit of.
Yeah.
So, in my capacity, I have two answers for this. If I am the president of the United States, I am having a Chick-fil-A built in the White House to deliver me Chick-fil-A so that way I could get it on Sundays.
No, Tyler, nobody would be there to make it on Sundays.
You're the president. They will be there on Sundays.
So as president, you're going to force this religious leaders to change their religious practice to suit your chicken nugget needs.
Just the one in the White House, yes.
Just the one in the White House. Okay.
But if this is just for my home and I don't have the presidential authority to make Chick-fil-A be open on Sundays, I'm going to have a slightly chilled Reese cup delivered to me.
Slightly chilled?
Yes.
Like in the fridge or the freezer?
Well, see, here's the thing. If you like Reese cups, which is my favorite candy, the secret to Reese cups is that it is 1,000 times better when it's cold.
Okay.
So you can put them in the freezer, but sometimes you forget about it when you put it in the freezer. So I usually put them in the fridge and leave them for a couple hours.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But a chilled Reese cup, I mean, I can just sit and pop those things like.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Like it's nobody like chips and salsa.
Like chips and salsa.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, Tyler. I didn't know this about you. So you would have Chick-fil-A and Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yes.
I don't eat Reese's, so that's fine.
Really?
I don't like them too much, no. But Chick-fil-A I do like. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I could go with you on that one.
Okay.
Nice. Very interesting, Tyler. I feel like I know you a little bit better now. Tyler, Netflix and Chill just got even better. The streaming and content giant announced they will be enabling a new feature called Shuffle Play, which is aimed at saving viewers time by serving up TV and movies the viewer is most likely to watch. It does this by using your current viewing history, saved movie genres you typically watch. Tyler, does this help, and are you surprised this wasn't being done before?
I'm going to maybe disagree. I don't think this is a good idea.
Why not?
I don't.
Why? Why wouldn't you want to have stuff that you would want to watch? Why do you? Because what they're saying during the announcement was that people are spending a lot of time scrolling through movies trying to find things, and what they end up doing is logging off and going to Disney Plus or Amazon Prime. So they're trying to make it quicker for people to find something they want, so they don't click off of Netflix.
Okay, I guess I get that argument because you do spend a lot of time trying to find something on Netflix. But here's the thing. I do not trust a shuffle button to pick something that I'm going to like because I like every song on my iPhone.
Okay.
I mean, I've got like over 1,000 songs. I got a lot of songs.
Okay.
And, obviously I like them all because I paid for or downloaded all of them.
Okay, fair enough.
So I like every song on my phone.
Fine.
But when I hit shuffle, I only like about one in every 15 songs. Because I'm just like, nope, not listen to that. Nope.
Okay. So, but the thing is, when you go on Netflix now, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have to scroll through a ton of movies that you have no interest in watching. See, I completely disagree with you. I think this is genius. I thought this shit. I don't know why this hasn't happened before. Every other, Google, Facebook, they know what I'm thinking before I even think it. You know what I mean? I'm surprised it took Netflix this long, considering how large they are. I think it's a good thing. It saves me some time. We work, we got kids. We got to save every second, Tyler. I don't want to sit there and scroll through 50 movies before I get to the one I like. That's just me, though.
Okay. Fair.
I mean, have I persuaded you?
No.
Don't you need to save time?
I mean, what if I hit shuffle and then I get, an hour-long show that I don't, well, crap, I've just wasted an hour of my life because I would have never picked this show, but just because Netflix told me that I would like it, I've now actually lost more time than if I would just gone through and picked something myself that I would have liked.
Well, here's what we're just gonna have to evaluate it and see how it is in practice because I don't know. I mean, in theory, I kind of like it, but let's just see where it goes.
Yeah,
I don't really know. Tough to say.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll try it out. Let us know. Are you using the shuffle button or not? Good idea or not?
Yeah, it's a good question. We'll see how it goes. Tyler, we got through that segment somehow. That was really entertaining. We had an interesting laugh there in the middle. I didn't really anticipate, but we'll move on. And then in our third segment, we are going to do our 90s family sitcom draft.
Yes.
So we're going to pick our dad, mom, sibling, and wild card and put them together for one ultimate 90s family apiece.
We are building our own families. As we said earlier, if you were a fan of TGIF in the 90s, you are not going to want to miss it. And we want to see who you think builds the better family. Me or Brandon, coming up, segment 3. Stay right with us. Welcome back. Segment 3, episode 41 of the Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast. Brandon, I don't know if I've been more excited about a segment than I have for this one, but I also don't know if I've ever been as conflicted. I have been spending all week debating, changing my answers, racking my brain, Googling to figure out who I'm going to pick to answer this question.
Yes.
Which is, if you could pick the ultimate family, a mom, a dad, a sibling, and then we said we're going to have a wild card, which could be a neighbor,
anybody,
a cousin, girlfriend, friend, like whoever, just somebody outside of the immediate family.
Yep.
But all of our picks have to come from 90s TV sitcoms.
I love it. So we're basically going to have a 90s family sitcom draft here, right? We're going to take turns. We're going to do, like, I guess maybe the dads first, then the moms, then a sibling, and then do our wild card, which I'm really interested to see. And along the way, we'll probably have some interesting discussions because you and I, let's face it, Tyler, we grew up on TGIF.
We did.
We grew up on, Home Improvement, Family Matters,
Boy Meets World, Step by Step.
Very underrated show, yes. Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yep.
All these shows. Full House. I mean, this is right in our wheelhouse, Tyler. So I think we just get into it. Let's get into it. Let's flip a coin to see who gets the first pick in the draft. You have a coin conveniently laying on the table.
We do.
I'm going to call heads.
All right, you're already calling it, huh?
I'm calling heads. Oh, I get to go first.
Heads it is.
All right. So, Tyler, with the first pick in the 90s sitcom family draft, father picks, I'm going to go with somebody that was not a father on the show technically to all the people in the family.
Oh, so you're already cheating.
But he was a father.
Okay.
He was a father, and that is none other than the big man himself from Bel Air, Uncle Phil.
Oh.
Uncle Phil, Fresh Prince. To me, he was the epitome of giving good life lessons. He also had the one episode where he unexpectedly hustled the guys out of money playing pool.
Oh, dude, that's a classic
episode. He was able to go down to the police station and get the kids out of jail by threatening the police officers that their grandchildren would be under litigation. So he always had your back, whether it was going to the police, going to the pool hall, and he was very wealthy. They lived in a nice house. I think it's a no-brainer. Uncle Phil is my pick. If I'm wanting to live in a TV with a TV dad, that's it right there. Uncle Phil.
It is kind of a win-win because you get the good dad, but also he's rich.
He's loaded, exactly. But I think even if he wasn't loaded, he was good at his job, and he had your back even when you did something stupid.
Yeah, I like that pick. I had it down to two dads, and he was one of them.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
I'm actually kind of glad you picked him so that I can just go with the other one.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going with my first pick of the Lex Buds 90s sitcom family draft.
Oh, man.
My dad. Now, I think we should also say before I say this. How did you decide? Are you assuming that you are a kid living with this family? Are you your current age? What was your thought process?
If I'm picking a dad, I have to look at them as okay. When I'm picking the specific dad scenario, I have to be at the age where I would need them to support me as a father, like in the same house. Okay. So when I'm looking at the dad perspective, now with some of the others, it could be something else, but that's just my perspective. Okay. Living under their roof, not of legal, under 18.
Okay, that's kind of, we're on the same page. I assumed, since we're talking about the 90s and we grew up in the 90s, that I would be, of middle school, high school age. where you're dependent. Okay, so we're at least on the same page with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my pick is going to be a dad who is a police officer.
Oh.
None other than Sir Carl Winslow from
Carl
Family
Winslow.
Matters.
Carl Winslow.
Now, I will say, Carl had a little bit of an anger issue at times, but most of his anger was caused by the neighbor, Steve Urkel. I feel like you take Steve Urkel out of the equation, he's not quite as angry. You know, so you do kind of worry about, you got dad who's upset all the time, but take Steve out of the equation. Steve's not going to be part of my draft, so I'm kind of eliminating
You're taking him out of the
Steve.
question. Okay.
You've got a dad, one being a police officer. That would just be cool, I think. To you cruise around in the police car.
Yeah.
You've also definitely got a dad who's got your back.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to mess with you if your dad's this big Chicago PD police officer.
I love that show.
Oh, it was great.
He was a very stable, steady character. And if you want that, if you're looking for a good father figure, that's what you want, something steady, stable that you can depend on when you need them and to teach you good life lessons along the way.
Yeah, and if you look at all these sitcoms, if I had to pick the kids who were the most normal, just like the most average kids, I think Eddie and Laura Winslow, I mean, they're just your average kids. Like you could tell they had good parenting. They were brought up right. They didn't have any major issues like a lot of other kids on these shows did. You just know you're going to get some solid parenting from Carl Winslow.
I'll give you that. That's a good call, Tyler. Good call. Now, before we move on to the mom part, who would be your least favorite dad? Because we got to, we talked about our two favorite. What's your least favorite?
I mean, it's got to be Al Bundy, right?
The shoe salesman. Yeah. I mean, I would love to have Al as a dad just because of his one-liners, because I would just sit there and laugh, and I just think that'd be really funny.
Yeah, but you're getting no support whatsoever from Al.
No, that's pretty much.
You're gonna be seeing a therapist one day talking about your dad issues.
Yeah, that's true. Good call on Al Bundy. Tyler, let's go on to the our pick for mothers, and since I did the dads first, then you go with the first pick on the moms.
All right. I'm going to go a little off the radar on this one. I'm betting you didn't have this one as one of your considerations, but we'll see. I think one of the key traits for a mom is patience. For a mom and for wives in general. Because kids do stupid stuff.
Okay. And
we husbands, we obviously do lots of stupid stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
To be a mom and a wife, you have to have the patience of a saint. And when I think of TV moms, there is one that stands out that had to put up with so much just buffoonery from her husband, but also from her husband's family. And I'm going with Deborah Barone from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, jeez.
The mom from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Nice.
I mean, because Raymond
Where did that come? I didn't see that coming at all.
Because not only does she have Raymond and all his shenanigans, but she also has the in-laws across the street who, the worst mother-in-law of all time is Raymond's mom, who just constantly harasses and criticizes her cooking and her cleaning, and she always bites her tongue most of the time. Occasionally she lets her have it.
Interesting.
But talk about just the patience to deal with anything I would do as a kid growing up, who would be understanding. I'm going Deborah Barone.
Wow, I did not see that coming at all, Tyler. That is, I mean, you really went deep with Everybody Loves Raymond. Mm-hmm. I did not see that coming.
I pulled that
Great
one out.
show.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrific show. And you know what? When you're thinking of 90s sitcoms, a lot of people just focus on the TGIF part. But there's some good stuff that wasn't on that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
That is an excellent pick. For my pick, Tyler, this may be controversial.
Uh-oh. Okay.
This may be controversial because
I will let you know.
This pick had the same name but had two different people playing them at one point.
I already know where you're going. Okay.
And they are coincidentally married to my father that I picked. And that is Aunt Viv.
Yes.
From Fresh Prince.
Okay.
Now let me tell you this. There's two Aunt Vivs. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking original Aunt Viv 8 days a week.
Really?
Yes. Second Aunt Viv was very plain and just blah.
Yeah.
Just kind of there. Original Aunt Viv had sass. She was very powerful in her messages. She was very smart and witty. And she would put people in their place when they needed to. And she was a little intimidating. Like, you would pay attention to her if she told you something.
No doubt.
Whereas second Aunt Viv was just kind of, oh, how you doing, Phil? You know what I mean? It was just kind of like a place filler. I like original Aunt Viv for my mom. If I'm living with a mom, I would want somebody that I think, hey, my mom can beat up your mom. That would be like Aunt Viv. That's what I think. So I'm going with original Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, it's always interesting when a show replaces a main character with somebody else. I mean, how long was the first Aunt Viv on there? How many seasons?
Just a couple, I think. Two,
maybe
2.5.
That's
I don't
what
know.
I was
Not
thinking.
very long. But she made she dominated the screen when she was on there too. She was very vocal. And like I said, the other one was a nice mom character, but just didn't really bring anything to the table, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It is always interesting when they change that. Kind of reminds me of Boy Meets World when the little sister Morgan, she just like disappeared for 2 years on the show.
Yeah,
and then one day she reappeared as a different actor playing her.
What about the mom? What about the worst mom, Tyler? What are you going? So we talked about our moms. Who are you taking as the worst mom?
Worst mom.
Worst mom. Are we going back to the Bundys again? We're going to go Peg Bundy.
Ow! I mean, don't you have to? The Bundys are the quintessential.
They're the worst
family. I mean, you're not getting any home cooked meals. That's for sure. Not getting any cleaning done.
You're not eating.
No,
you're barely making it.
Yeah, you're being constantly ridiculed.
That's what made that show so good, though. I love that show. Married with Children is so funny.
Yeah. So is she your worst mom as well?
Yeah, there's no doubt. She doesn't do anything. Great character. If I'm talking about living with them as a mom, no way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That brings us to the next category, which is who would you want to have as a sibling? Now, this is very important because this is going to be who you're, probably spending the most time with.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing with, you're going to be talking to, hanging out with most of the time. So this is very critical. So who are you going?
Tyler,
you could go brother, you could go sister, can be any.
Tyler, this was the one that was the hardest for me, to be honest with you. But when I'm thinking about it, when I was growing up, somebody that I related to a lot and saw myself in quite a bit is the person that I would want to have as my sibling. Somebody that I could trust is going through maybe some of the same struggles as I am, or maybe the same questions, and can relate and listen. And that's none other than Corey.
Oh.
You know who I was going there, right? From Boy Meets World. It's got to be Corey. I mean, he is basically your everyman when it comes to siblings, right? When it comes to kids and TV, he is the everyman just trying to figure stuff out. He swings this way, swings that way. He's trying to figure things out. He makes some mistakes along the way, but he never does anything wild and crazy, right? He was always on the straight and narrow, but every now and then he couldn't quite figure stuff out. So I think Corey and I would relate very well. I'm going with Corey from Boy Meets World.
That's an excellent pick. That was going to be my pick as well. So I'm going to have to go to a backup now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you talk about Boy Meets World because when we were watching that show, we were pretty much right at the same age.
Oh yeah,
as Corey and Sean and Topanga and all. So it was a very relatable show, and Corey was just like the average kid.
Yeah,
I mean, this is just a typical average kid. Like sports. You have the sports you could play sports and talk sports with.
But he wasn't overly great at anything. He was just a dude.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
He was just a dude that you could relate. So that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
So I took your pick. I feel bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, stuff happens, Tyler.
Okay. So, all right, my sibling, and this was also one of my hardest ones. I agree with you. This is really, and I've got two written down. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with.
Oh, Tyler, this is it. I'll give you 5 seconds.
So
5,
I have to decide.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. I'm going to go. Hey, this may be slightly cheating, but I'm going with Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as my sibling.
Oh.
I know he was, the cousin, but for that show, he was essentially one of their kids.
Carlton and Will were siblings.
Yeah.
And for all intents and purposes, the
so.
titles are different, but the basic interaction is siblings.
Yeah. So I'm going Will because, I mean, is there a more fun person to be around? I mean, you just talk about somebody who there would never be a dull moment, and you would just always have fun with. I mean, hilarious. I mean, I love Will Smith. I think he is one of the funniest people from any.
It's great.
I mean, even today, his one-liners. A lot of people make fun of him, but I think he's still hilarious.
He's great.
So you talk about somebody that you can just be yourself, have lots of laughs together.
Uh-huh.
You have all kinds of fun stories to talk about growing up with Will Smith. So I'm going with him. He would probably get me into some shenanigans sometimes, which might actually be good because I was always on the straight and narrow as a kid. I never got in any trouble.
I was the same
really.
way.
So might bring me out of my shell a little bit as a kid growing up.
You know what's funny is my backup pick for siblings was Carlton.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because
why Carlton?
Carlton because he does the dance.
Because the dance.
Yeah, then I would love to do that, but just somebody that's totally polar opposite for me, but not like mean or just a dude, but just goofy.
Yeah,
but very smart. So that's important. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Who would be your worst sibling?
For me, this one's pretty easy. And that would be Eric from Boy Meets World. So I talked about I'd like Corey to be, a sibling. Eric, I just thought progressively got dumber over the course of that show.
Oh, no doubt.
And whereas Carlton, you could have a conversation with, and he's reasonably intelligent and knows things, Eric got so dumb that I was surprised that he was breathing air. You know what I mean? It's like, what's 2 + 2? Oh, I don't know. You started to wonder there towards a little. So my least favorite was Eric, just because the character went from being normal to being completely dumb.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
What about you?
I hate to go back to Married with Children again, but Bud Bundy.
I love Bud Bundy.
You would want Bud Bundy as your brother?
He's one of my top picks.
No way.
Yeah, Bud Bundy.
Get out of here.
I love Bud Bundy. Is so simple-minded. He has basically 2 thoughts running through his head all day long. And those people are really easy to hold a conversation with.
Oh, wait, I think I might have one that's worse. What was the sister's name on Fresh Prince?
Oh,
Vanessa?
Oh, my goodness.
It's Vanessa, right?
No.
No? What's the sister's name then?
Oh, my God. Tyler, we're having a brain lapse here. What is her name? Try to guess. You said it's not Vanessa.
So you got Philip and Vivian, Will and Carlton.
Yep.
What's the sister's name?
Tyler, are we going to figure this out before I Google it? I'm Googling it.
Vanessa. Vivian?
Vivian is Hillary.
Oh, Hillary.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hillary. Hillary Banks, I think, would be a terrible sibling, too.
Yeah, Vivian was Aunt Viv.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
But, yeah Hillary.
I think I'm going to change. I'm going to say Hillary's the worst. Because
really?
Just a total snob. Like, how... In what way could we relate to Hillary Banks? Like, what are we going? If we're just hanging out with our sister Hillary, what are we going to do to have any sort of fun?
Well, she was always, hobnobbing with celebrities and stuff. So I mean, there is a redeeming factor there. Whereas Bud Bundy, as you said, I guess, is just doing other things. Nothing productive.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's true. Tyler, this has been interesting so far. So we are down to it. Our last round is the wild card round.
The wild card.
This could be a neighbor, friend, cousin, remote family member somewhere. You pick in this round.
This was probably the second hardest one after the sibling. I've got 3 names written down here for this one.
This was by far the toughest. This could be anything that would enhance your family or make it the way you want it. You could have picked from anything. It's like the buffet of family members.
Now, and this also... I had different answers for this dependent upon who I picked for my other family members. Because,
I see.
Hey, I was going to pick Corey Matthews for my sibling.
Mm-hmm.
But since you picked Corey Matthews, that has now influenced who I'm going to pick for my wild card, which is I'm going to make my wild card my girlfriend, Topanga Lawrence.
Oh, Topanga.
Is going to be my wild card.
Oh, Topanga.
Is going to be Topanga. Which, if I had Corey as a sibling, you'd have that whole love triangle thing going on. But since I don't have Corey in my family,
it doesn't impact.
I'm just taking Topanga. She's going to be my girlfriend. For 90s TV girlfriends, she's the best of the best, right?
But you remember when she first started out on the show, she was the nerd.
Oh, she was weird. She was a weirdo. She painted her face with lipstick. Yeah.
Yeah. There was at some point there was a change. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, okay, this is different. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. She went from the weird kind of hippie-ish almost.
Yeah,
to
really strange.
Just the total girl next door type.
Yeah,
from one season to the next. But I mean, Topanga, smart as all get out.
Yeah.
Doesn't really care about material things at all. Just is loyal and loves people for who they are. You know, remember there was the one episode where Corey like screwed up his hair and he had this big poofy hair because he was trying to straighten it.
Yeah.
And he was like all worried, and Topanga just goes and kisses him just to show him that, hey, it doesn't matter what you look like. Which is important for me, for a girl not to care what I look like. That would be beneficial to me.
Come on. Give yourself a little credit, Tyler.
But, I mean, yeah, just the all-American girl for a high school girlfriend. You do not get any better than Topanga. She checks all the boxes.
She definitely checks a lot of boxes.
So I'm going Topanga
Okay.
for my wild card.
This was I had about 5 different names for this one, Tyler, if I'm going for my pick. And I'm still torn right now as I sit here and look at you trying to give this decision. But because I was able to get Corey Matthews as my sibling, it almost leaves me with no other choice than for my wild card pick to round out my family surroundings.
Mr. Feeney?
To be none other than Mr. Feeney. I mean, it's Mr. Feeney.
Yep.
Mr. Feeney always had the answers. He always knew what to do, and he was right next door.
Yes.
And we already know he relates well to Corey, so in turn, that means he would probably be very helpful to me. So I think I got to go with Mr. Feeney. He's the peanut butter to the jelly.
He is. You can just walk out to your backyard and go, Mr. Feeney?
Yeah.
Mr. Feeney!
Exactly. And he would just come out and give some kind of, old wise advice. Oh, Corey, I mean, he was just always there. And he always talked in a very calming voice, when he was there. I like Mr. Feeney. So just because of my family breakdown, I'm going to go with Mr. Feeney to go with Corey as my sibling, Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil as my mom and dad.
I like it. And he could just follow you from middle school to high school to college and just continue to be your history teacher.
I know. So exactly. That was always the weird thing, wasn't it? He just followed us really eerily. But so Tyler, recap. Who is your family? Let's recap your family.
Okay. So my family, I've got Dad, Carl Winslow from Family Matters.
Uh-huh.
Mom, Deborah Barone. Everybody loves Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
Sibling, Will Smith, Fresh Prince. And wild card, my high school sweetheart will be Topanga Lawrence.
Okay, and just to recap mine, I've got Uncle Phil as the dad, original Aunt Viv as the mom,
Yep.
Corey Matthews from Boy Meets World as the sibling, and Mr. Feeney as the wild card. We're going to have to put this up for debate, Tyler.
I think so. Those are 2 pretty solid families.
Similar in some ways, different in some ways, but, I leaned very Fresh Prince heavy. That was a big show for me. I mean, I absolutely love my backup pick for wild card. Who was your backup pick?
So my backups were going to be. I was going to be selfish again and pick another girlfriend. Was going to be Kelly Kapowski.
Oh yeah,
also pretty high on the list of TV girlfriends. Then my other one was going to be Uncle Jesse.
No, that was my second one.
Was it really?
Yeah, I had Uncle Jesse written right down.
I actually thought that would be who you would pick.
I was really on the verge of picking Uncle Jesse. He was so cool. Jesse and the Rippers. Jesse Consopoulos even had a cool last name. He always had the hair.
Yep.
And, him and Danny would come in and sing to Michelle, "Let me be your loving teddy bear."
Yeah, you can that's good. Go jam out, play music in the basement.
I mean, how can...
And just a cool guy.
It's a cool guy. But, he doesn't have the all otherworldly advice that Mr. Feeney has. So we're going to have to put up all this on social media, put it up for debate. Let us know who you would choose first of all, but also who has the better of the two. I don't know. I really don't know. I think we have 2 solid families.
We do. You were very Fresh Prince and also Boy Meets World heavy. You had 2 of each.
I know.
On there.
It's weird. It's really weird. I never realized how much Fresh Prince influenced me until I started making the family part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It is interesting.
It is weird, but I mean, it was a great show until the end. I mean, like most shows, towards the end, it got a little, nah.
Yeah.
But
do you have a worst wild card since we're still doing our worst for each one?
Oh, a worst wild card. I would go with. Jeez, that's a tough call, Tyler. I mean, do you have any that stick out to you right offhand?
I don't know. I was maybe Cody Lambert from Step by Step.
Tyler, I swear. Cody was going to be right at the top of my list. Cody Land, yes.
For worst?
Yes,
Okay.
because...
He's living in a van in your driveway.
Yeah, and he started out funny, but then the longer he's there, it's like, well, this is sad. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah, I think he would wear out his welcome pretty quick.
Wow. I'm right there with you. And Step by Step, by the way, had some great characters. Had a great mom and dad. Had great siblings, too, for that matter. We could have picked them. There just wasn't any one particular one that stood out a lot.
Yeah, I actually had Al was going to be one of my siblings. She was one of the ones I was considering for a sibling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just because, a girl who can talk sports is always cool.
Yeah. And you had the one kid that would he would put the milk in and then do this chocolate syrup. And then
JT.
Yeah, JT. And then shake. So, I mean, that's kind of fun. I would kind of like to have that. But overall, a very underrated show, in my opinion. It gets forgotten a lot.
I will say, I don't think they were good parents on Step by Step. I mean, they met each other and got married and moved their families with each other. They had never even met each other. Like, all the kids were meeting each other for the first time on the first episode when they're moving in. That's just irresponsible.
I like that show, Tyler.
I mean, I love it. I love the show.
And then obviously they weren't good enough parents to kick Cody out of the driveway from the van.
That's why I did not pick either one of them as a parent, because it's just wildly irresponsible.
But for quality of show, I thought it was a good show. It's entertaining.
Yes,
it's kind of like Married with Children. Very irresponsible parenting, no doubt, but a very entertaining show.
Yes, agreed.
I'm gonna have to watch Married with Children now. When we get done here, I'm gonna go put on Married with Children.
I need to find where can I even watch Step by Step now? Is it on anything?
I don't know.
It's got to be somewhere.
It's got to be somewhere. I don't know. A lot of rewatchable stuff we got to get to.
Yes.
This has been a very fun show, Tyler. We covered a lot, to say the least. We just finished our 90s sitcom family draft. We talked some sports. We talked Diet Coke buttons and Bob Evans recalls and kind of everything in between. I had fun.
This was a good show. So make sure you are following us. We'll probably post a link to this video on Facebook so that you can go give your opinion on which one of our families were the best. So as we said earlier, just type in Lex Buds. You'll find us on Facebook and Twitter. And we want to hear your feedback. And we want to know who you would pick for your perfect family members. Who would be your dad? Who would be your mom if you could pick anyone?
It's a really interesting question.
It is.
I mean, let's be honest. Great question, made for a great debate, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, I'm sure people will think of ones that we hadn't even thought of. So please let us know. We want to hear from you.
Yep, and as Tyler said, you can just type Lex Buds into your internet machine, and we'll pop up somewhere, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. We're going to be there. And as always, if you want to see our beautiful mugs on screen, check out our website, lexbuds.com, and our YouTube page. You'll see the full show there. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Stay classy, Kentucky.